to begin our meeting for the West Orange Township Rent Leveling Board. I'm going to read the statement of compliance. It's April 14th, 2022. So let's begin. Notice of this meeting was given to the township clerk and posted on the township bulletin board and township website calendar and sent to the West Orange Chronicle and the Star Ledger. This meeting has been properly noticed to the public in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act. No new matters will start after 8 p.m. And if everyone would stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, next we have announcements. The announcement is that the next regularly scheduled Rent Leveling Board meeting will take place on May 12th, 2022. And now, Mr. Smeraldo, if you would conduct the roll call.
Chairman Sanders, just to note that Mr. Campagna sends his regrets, but due to a personal family matter, he unexpectedly had to recuse himself tonight, so he is absent. And Board Member Melinda Huerta.
Here.
Board Member Asmer Gebermichael.
Here.
Board Member Kabira Myers.
Here.
Board Member Rodolfo Rodriguez is going to be late from what we understand. And Chairperson Deirdre Poe Sanders.
Here.
You have a quorum, Madam Chair.
Okay, let us proceed. We have the matter of 91 Ashland Avenue, LLC. And tonight, we will have the objectors, if I'm not mistaken. Isn't that correct, Mr. Graziano?
Well, Madam Chair, may I propose an order of business?
Yes.
We should first confirm with Mr. Vistardos that he is done presenting his case.
Okay.
And then we should allow the objectors, after they've properly been sworn in and identified themselves, we should allow the objectors to ask questions of Mr. Vistardos. That'll be part two.
Okay.
And then once that's concluded, then we can tell the objectors, okay, now please present your case as an objector, whatever it might be. And then we give Mr. Vistardos a chance to ask questions of them about their case.
Okay, so then, Mr. Vistardos, we're going to start with you. Hopefully I've gotten everything that Mr. Graziano articulated. If I missed anything, chime in. But Mr. Vistardos, have you made your case, sir, today?
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much done with everything that I've said. I think I've spoken my point of what I need to get addressed accordingly. I've given you all the proper documentation. I mean, can I respond to these objection forms at this point and the pictures that I have on the email? Can I respond to these?
Well, you'll be, Mr. Vistardos, you'll be able to ask questions of the objectors after they are done presenting their case. You can cross-examine them, for lack of a better term.
Okay, no worries. I mean, yeah, that's really it. I'm not gonna reiterate what we went over last month and the month before. I think everybody on here knows the situation very well, knows the story, knows the details, knows the specifics, and you know, whatever decision is going to be made at this point. I don't need to waste anybody else's time any further already than I've already gone over everything.
Okay. Okay, then we will, well, if it's all right, the objectors can take the floor. How do we proceed? Is there an order to that, Mr. Graziano?
We should we should have the objectors identify themselves, and then we should just pick one of them to go first.
Okay.
We swear them. I believe there's also going to be a translator to assist at least one of the witnesses I recall from last month.
Yeah, a few of them actually. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Mr. Graziano, do you
Yes.
think we should use the raise hand icon, and then whoever raises their hand first, we call them that way? and then ask them to drop their hand, lower their hand after they're done speaking.
If they know how to use that feature in Zoom, I think that's a good idea. Sure.
Okay.
Mr.
So-
Graziano, does Mr. Bastardos need to be sworn in as well, or do we wait until after when he's to be cross-examined?
Well, Mr. Vistardos, having previously been sworn, maybe we could just give him a reminder that he's still sworn in.
Okay.
We don't have to re-swear him, but just, Mr. Vistardos, please just acknowledge verbally on the record that you understand that you're still sworn in from previous sessions of this hearing.
Understood completely.
Okay.
Okay, then Mr. Graziano, if you would begin by swearing in the objectors that are present, unless I've missed something.
Okay. Well, I guess I need to know how many objectors are out there, but objectors, would you please identify yourselves, even if it's through your translators?
You can unmute your microphones and turn on your cameras.
There are a few more that have not, oh, here it comes. Yep, two, okay.
Usted diga que su nombre es Marisol.
Marisol Díaz, Beatrice Laura,
Lisbeth Cartagena.
Okay, then we need one more,
Calderón,
Manuel Vega.
Mirma Calderón,
He's co-applicant, Mr. Vega.
Oh, he's a co-applicant. Does that mean he doesn't need to show himself?
If he chooses not to participate tonight at his other co-applicant, we can just present on
Okay,
his
then
behalf.
Mr. Graziano, okay.
So Ms. Diaz, Ms. Laura, and Ms. Cartagena, do you swear that the testimony that you give tonight will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
It's my mom, Mirma Calderon. She's the one that's living here.
Oh, okay.
Translator, yeah.
Okay, so Ms. Diaz is translating for Ms. Calderon,
Yeah.
correct? Is anyone translating for Ms. Laura?
I am Lisbeth Cartagena.
Elizabeth Cartagena is translating for Beatrice Laura
And Marisol Diaz.
and Marisol Diaz. Oh, then who's, I thought we had Ms. Calderon in there too.
That's Elizabeth Calderon.
So it's my mom and my grandma. Actually, my grandma can't make it today. She's very sick today, so she can't make it. So it will only be my mom.
Okay, so what are the names of the witnesses who are going to be testifying tonight? Please give them to me again.
Mirma Calderon,
Calderon, okay. And who else?
well, I can't speak for my grandma anymore because she's sick.
Okay, all right, so what other objectors are present tonight then? Is Ms. Cartagena one of the objectors?
Yes.
Okay.
I think she is.
I
No.
thought Cartagena was the translator.
That's what I thought too.
Laura and Marisol Diaz, correct?
Yes, I'm just the translator.
So who are you translating for?
I'm translating for Marisol Diaz and Beatrice Laura.
Okay, so one translator for two. And Beatrice. Okay, so now we've got everybody, I think, identified here. So Ms. Calderon, I'll go through the swearing in again. Ms. Calderon, Ms. Diaz, and Ms. Laura, will you all please raise your right hand?
Levante su mano derecha.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony that you give tonight will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
I swear.
Lo juro.
Okay, the witnesses are sworn. So which of you three objectors would like to go first? Would it be Ms. Calderon, Ms. Diaz, or Ms. Laura? May I suggest Ms. Calderon goes first?
That's fine.
Okay, so Ms. Calderon, then please proceed with your presentation for your objection.
Do you want her to speak in Spanish first and then I translate, or how do?
Yes, I mean, if you're here to translate, then I think you should do that. Yes.
¿Y por qué estás acá?
Bueno, estoy aquí porque no quisiera que la renta me suban mucho. Sorry. Ya me subieron el 2%. Él está pidiendo mucho. Yo vivo desde el año 1989. Vive con mi hija Elizabeth. Ella vive
Ms. Calderon, wait for a second, please. I'm terribly sorry, everyone. I forgot to also swear the translators in. So all those persons who are translating for Ms. Calderon, Ms. Diaz, and Ms. Laura, do you solemnly swear that the translation you give tonight will be a true and accurate representation of what your witness is testifying to?
I swear.
Okay. All right. So I'm sorry to interrupt you, Ms. Calderon. So please proceed. And Ms. Calderon's translator, please translate as she goes along, please.
All right, she's gonna repeat it again, I guess.
Ok, estoy aquí para decir de que espero que me suba mucho la renta porque yo soy una madre soltera. Tengo mi hija que está en college, la segunda hija porque mi hija Elizabeth terminó. Y pues ya no subieron el 2%.
So she's saying that she's here because she doesn't want the rent to be increased anymore. She's a single mom. She lives with my sister. Prior to that, I was living here.
En el college. Año y medio o 2 años.
My sister her daughter is in college. So she think that it should be raised anymore since already raised it to 2%. I don't know if you guys have questions, because I think last time we what we said.
So
I'm sorry to interrupt, Mr. Graziano. It's really difficult to hear. I don't know if anyone else is having any issues hearing. It's cutting in and out.
yes, I agree, Ms. Geber-Michael. I'm getting about 3/4 of it, and it's cutting out. So
Can you hear me?
Ms. Diaz, would you please speak again so we could hear whether you're coming through clearly?
Okay, what my mom is saying is that she doesn't want the rent to be increased. It has already been increased by 2%. She's a single mom. She lives with my sister, who's in college right now, and she doesn't think that it's fair for him to raise it for what he wants to be, the rent to be raised.
Okay, and is that Ms. Calderon's entire testimony, or does she have anything to add to that?
Sí, puso en el list que está expirado, que yo vivo sola, pero yo vivo con mi hija, que ella nació aquí.
So
Y
she's saying that the lease that he gave them, when was it? In January 1st, 2021. He only put her name. He didn't put my sister's name, but she's been living here with her. Do you want her to say more stuff, or just like why she objects, or?
Well, Ms. Diaz, the purpose of having Ms. Calderon testify tonight is that Mr. Vistardos has applied for a hardship increase to be allowed to increase the rent more than what's allowed by the ordinance. So, Ms., we want to hear from the objectors as to what the reasons why that shouldn't happen.
Okay.
Okay,
right.
That's really, it's no more complex than that. If you have an objection, we just need to know what it is. And so, is there anything else from Ms. Calderon?
En el list, wow, él habló del list que el dueño anterior no nos subía nunca, pero yo en el año 1989 yo pagaba 500 tanto So, que cómo va a decir de que él no nos subía si el sueldo mínimo era $6.50.
Saying that Mr. Bastardo said in 2 meetings ago that the old landlord didn't raise the rent on them, but that's not true. You know, she's been living here since 1989. And back then the minimum wage was like $6, I think. That's what she's saying. And back then I think the rent was, I think she started off with like 500 something. So he had been raising the rent. So it's not true what he's saying that, you know, that it wasn't raised, because it was.
Okay, does Ms. Calderon have anything to add, Ms. Diaz, or is that it?
No.
Okay, esta es la segunda vez que nosotros estamos viviendo en peligro. La primera vez fue que él alquiló en el basement a personas que entraron con serpientes, víboras y tenían jaulas de ratas. Y
Okay, so she's saying that this is the second time that you know, they're living in, I guess, in danger. The first one was he rented, I don't know if it was like a working space downstairs in the basement. There was like snakes in the basement that the tenants didn't know about. I think they called the West Orange Animal Control.
del town hall, vinieron los de la salud, vinieron el departamento de animales y vino la policía.
So the cops came too, the health department came too.
So que ahora en la segunda, los vecinos del primer piso le cortaron la luz. Entonces ellos están jalando luz del basement. Hay un cordón ahí, ustedes pueden ver. Nosotros estamos en peligro porque puede haber un cortocircuito a ir de abajo para arriba.
So the second time that they're in danger is now. Apartment number 1, they don't have any power. I think they cut it. PSCNG cut it. And the tenants have seen, my mom has seen that they are taking power from the basement. There's like a cord that's coming from their apartment 1 to the basement from the outside. And my mom is scared that something might happen to the building. Come on.
¿Por qué no le dije a Lázaro? Porque siempre cuando le decimos algo a él, siempre nos dice que si nosotras no estamos contentas, que no podemos ir y que no puede conseguir building para vivir en un lugar en mi zona.
And I don't know if Mr. Bastardo knows, but the reason my mom is saying the reason why she hasn't said anything to him is because every time that she tells him, he says, sorry, he says, oh, well, you don't have to live here, you can leave. So.
Él dijo también, ya siempre nos está diciendo que si estamos infeliz, que nos vayamos de la casa. O que nos está hostigando cada vez que viene los meses.
So she's saying that, it's like he's harassing them because every time he comes, something he tells them like, you know what to do, you can leave. So, it's very uncomfortable.
Okay, well, members of the board, do you have any questions for Ms. Calderon before we allow Mr. Vistardos to question her? Do any board members have any questions of Ms. Calderon?
Yes, Kabira had her raised first.
Okay.
So yes, go ahead, Ms. Kabira.
Thanks, Melinda. So Ms. Calderon, you mentioned that, well, actually, you know what, before I even go there, is are the tenants in apartment 1 here to testify? Because Ms. Calderon testified that they have no power in their unit. Is apartment 1 here to testify? Anybody from there at all?
They're not here. Their power was turned on today.
That's not true. It
Okay,
wasn't.
But
so,
I can't affect somebody not being able to pay their bill.
do we, yeah.
yeah, I'm
Let's
not trying to
keep,
open
let's keep it orderly, people. Don't all just shout out at once, okay? Right now, the board is asking questions of Ms. Calderon. Let's keep it to that, Mr. Vistardos. When the board is done asking questions, you will be permitted to ask your own questions of Ms. Calderon.
Okay, and then I have a question. Ms. Calderon, you mentioned that the old landlord increased the rent. Do you recall how frequently those increases occurred, and when was the last time the old landlord increased your rent?
Siempre. Cuando él te subía la renta. No, Giuseppe. Every year.
Okay, so, oh, okay, every year, got it. And
year.
then finally, you talked about snakes in the basement. I wasn't sure if I caught you telling us when this happened, when were there snakes in the basement, and to whom did they belong, those snakes?
This was in September, I think, September, October.
Yeah, so it was last September or October, and she's saying that it smelled bad.
And do you know, were those snakes owned by somebody in the building, or
Yeah.
they just,
Okay, sorry.
yeah,
Sorry.
were they kept as pets? I'm just curious. Yeah.
I think it was a business que era un business.
Ese era un business que yo el departamento de yo lo vendía.
Okay, so it was a business. I don't know what they did, but I think they sold it. Like I said, the West Orange town and animal control, they're aware of it, and also the owner.
And to your knowledge, do you know who was operating that business that was selling those snakes?
¿Quién crees? ¿Quién era el que estaba en ese business? No, she didn't know.
Okay, no further questions. Thank you so much.
She says she has pictures of everything, so.
Hi, this is board member Huerta.
Hi.
I had a couple of questions. So the snakes incident that occurred in September of 2021,
Yes,
and this was under Mr. Vistardo's ownership. He had already became the owner.
yes.
And
Sí.
was he leasing the basement, to your knowledge? Like he was renting this space to a person. This wasn't somebody that already lived there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a
It
new
was
person.
It was a new person. And okay. My apologies. You could go ahead. Are we able to come back if we have more questions? Mr.
Yes.
Graziano? Okay.
Yes.
Asmaret, go ahead. You can ask your questions.
Okay. So you said that you've been living there since 1989. I just wanted to confirm because I couldn't hear. It was cutting out.
Yeah,
You said 89 or 98?
1989.
89.
89, sorry.
And the rent was 500 then?
Well, it was like a 400 something.
Okay.
Almost 500.
Yeah.
Almost 500. Okay. And that's it. I also wanted to, I guess the testimony about apartment 1, Mr. Graziano, wouldn't count, right? Because the tenant isn't here, correct? That wouldn't be part of.
Well, if you can make.
You have to omit it,
of that-
right?
Well, I don't think we need to strike it from the record, Ms.
Okay.
Geber-Michael. You can give it, the US board can give it the appropriate weight that you see fit to give it. If, I don't think it matters that whether the apartment, whether tenant number 1 is here or not. It just, she's just Ms. Calderon just testifying what she knows about apartment number 1.
Got it.
Okay.
I was just wondering because they're not here because it could be considered hearsay, right? So I just wanted to make sure.
Well, no, it's
We're all
not,
new
I
to
mean, not to get caught up in a big lecture on evidence law, but no, it's not hearsay because Ms. Calderon was testifying to facts that were, I assume they were within her direct knowledge. She's not
Okay.
saying what somebody else told her. She's saying what she knows.
Okay, thank you for explaining. And with the living in danger part with the snakes, what was the outcome of that?
¿Qué fue lo que pasó después que vino el town y todo con los snakes?
Que
con
el town hall le dijo que los ¿cómo se llama? Que no tenían, bueno, y la policía también dice que no, porque tenían aire acondicionado. El aire acondicionado no podía estar conectado. Entonces, cuando se fueron todos ellos, lo siguieron.
No, pero ¿qué
funcionando.
pasó con las serpientes? Están
Oh,
diciendo lo sacaron.
Le dieron, el town hall le dieron tal día para que los puedan sacar.
So they were removed, but they gave Mr. Bastardos a time frame for the owners to take out all the snakes, and well, there were rats there too, so to be taken out.
Thank you for sharing. And then one other thing is, you said the lease, when it was renewed in January, only includes Ms. Calderon, not her sister, although her sister lives there. Has her sister been in, or her daughter, has her daughter been in previous leases?
Yes,
Okay, thank you so much.
since she was born 1998, so.
I do have a question. Oh, did anyone else? Melinda, go ahead and ask your question. I see your hand up. Go ahead.
Thanks. Thank you, Deirdre. So I did have a question, a follow-up about the rent. So you said you've been renting since 1989. Do you know how much annually they would increase? Is it the percentage within the rental ordinance? Was it every year 2% increase or more?
¿Cuánto
Sí, no,
te?
sería, yeah,
It was like $15, she said, or 2%.
Okay. And you said that when you bring up concerns that he's dismissive, and that you feel intimidated when you speak to him, and so this is why you haven't brought up additional concerns to him about the building.
Right, por eso no le dices a él.
porque él las intimida.
Right, yeah, so he like tries to intimidate them, harass them.
So is there a reason that he did not include the daughter on the lease? Did you let him know right away that the daughter was not on the lease? Or did you bring it to his attention? Or was it an oversight on his part?
Nada, porque cuando él nos trajo el list para firmar, nos dio una tercera parte nada más. No nos dio nos dijo a nosotros, van a firmar una vez nada más y ya nada más, nos dio esta parte. Les voy a traer otro día y no, y fue esto de nosotros que no leímos.
All right, so when he gave them the lease, he didn't give them the complete list. He only gave them the last page of the lease where where she signed. So she didn't see the front page. She says that, yes, it was her mistake. You know, she should have asked them to give her the full lease. She knows it was her mistake, but when he came with the new lease, he only gave them the last page. And then when he came with all the lease, that's when she noticed that her daughter wasn't in it. Right, but her mistake was not saying it to him. Maybe, I don't know if it was an oversight. You probably should ask him that.
So when he gave you the lease to sign it, he only showed or only presented the part where she was supposed to sign. He did not give her the whole lease before she signed it?
Right.
Okay. Was it your application that you were trying to submit some screenshots and were not able to submit them? Because I did see something about screenshots of messages.
No, that's not me.
Okay, my apologies. I have nothing further.
Sorry, board member Huerta. You stated you felt intimidated, so you didn't feel comfortable speaking to him, Ms. Calderon. Did you ever send email correspondence instead of versus verbal?
Sí, te hace-
Like proof in writing of whenever there were issues that happened
pasa cosas
via
through
email.
mensajes o emails. She sends him texts. She doesn't call him at all.
Thank you, Ms. Calderon.
Cuando nos dijo, cuando vino, cuando él- I'm sorry.
Esmer,
So-
I'm sorry, can you repeat that? I know, can you repeat, I'm sorry, Ms. Diaz, can you repeat what you just said? I couldn't hear it.
No, that she only sends him texts. She doesn't call him.
She doesn't call him, she
You
only.
never
sends text
sent an
messages.
email. Yeah, it was just a
that's-
text message.
no,
Okay.
Yeah, my question is about emails.
She has
Text,
all.
okay.
She has all her texts, obviously.
So it's only text messaging and speaking to him when you communicate with him.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
No emails. No.
So, ladies and gentlemen of the board, does anyone else, any other board members have any questions of Ms. Calderon before we turn it over to Mr. Vistardos?
One more,
Oh.
I'm so sorry, Deidre.
No, I'll slide in just this one time.
Go
My
ahead.
only question was that photographs were referred to this evening, and I was wondering if those photographs were different than the ones that we already have in the evidence that we have in our possession. Because we have photographs already. Were there additional photographs?
Are you asking me? Sorry.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yes, I am. My apologies.
I did send Peter pictures of the hallways of the building,
Yes.
of how it was.
Yes, we saw that. Yeah.
Right, because my mom wanted you guys to see how the building is. You know, it's just minor things that he can just come and do it. But he hasn't come, and he knows how it is because he comes and collects the rent. So I don't know why he doesn't fix them.
Okay, I was just making sure there were not additional photos that you were for. Okay, thank you. That was it. Anyone else?
Ms. Myers has her hand up, and so does the
Okay.
applicant.
Okay.
Thank you. I was just curious as to what the photos represented. So I'm looking at one of a door. And I'm also looking at another one with a snow shovel. So
Right.
what are those two photos depicting? Or it looks like two photos of the door, one photo with a snow shovel
Right,
adjacent to the door.
Right, so there's two doors.
Yeah.
That's the second door to come into the building. It's just been there since, I guess, since winter started.
What's been there?
The shovel.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, and then this is the first door when you walk in, when you open the entrance.
Mhm.
As you can see, there's no knob, and the knob is like on the floor. So,
Mhm.
I mean, I don't know why, you know, it can just be fixed.
Well, how do you open and close the door if it has
Right,
no
through-
knob on it?
Right, you just push it or through the hole.
Oh,
I
I
put my, you know, I mean, it's kind of dangerous because I have two little kids and when we come to visit my mom, you know, you can get splinters when you open it.
And so, is this the door, is this the only, I mean, I'm just curious, is there a door after this one, or is this the door that leads to the street? Like if you were to open it, are you on the street at that point, or?
This is like, if you open that, you're on the street.
So then
But
that's a security issue, yes?
Right, and then there's another door, which I also sent because that, even though it has a doorknob and the second lock, prior to him owning the building, there's been, someone came in and stole it. So stole one of the apartments. So I guess the door is kind of like shook a little bit. And my mom has told them like, you know, if you can fix it, but he said he has fixed it. But if you can see the other picture, you can see it's kind of, I don't know if it's, right, the knob, I guess, is a little bit loose.
Mhm.
So we just wanted to send you that so you can see how it is. There's also like, I'm not sure if I sent you, like there's salt Do you see how it is?
Yeah, I saw the picture with the salt.
Right. So that door, you know, that's where they came in and they came in to steal some of the apartments. So like
And is that the current state of the door? Does the door still look like what's in that picture?
this.
Thank you.
I have a follow-up question about the door. So this door right here that's on the image on the screen now, what does that lead to? Is that your apartment building?
No, that's the hallway to all the apartments.
So the front door, when you come into that front door, that brown door with no knob, this is another door, like, so you go into like a hallway and then this door?
Yeah, it's like a little stair.
Okay, and then that leads to the rest of the apartments.
Right. Yes.
But this one still is also doesn't lock properly?
It locks, but it's like a little bit loose, I guess you can say. I don't know how to explain it, but.
So it's not, it just, but it doesn't lock is what I'm asking.
No, it locks.
It locks and
yeah.
you can't get in if you, is it?
You can,
if
I mean, you have to move when you put in the key, you have to move it a little bit, but you can get in.
But I'm saying, if you don't have a key and you force it open, can it be forced open easily?
Oh,
or I guess I don't know.
Yeah, no.
Okay, because so you're saying that there was a robbery of the apartments. When was this?
Como 4 veces. La última fue con la señora Beatriz, que fue, ella debe saber que hace 3 años atrás creo que fue.
All right, so it was 4 times that someone or people have come into the apartments, and the last time was in apartment 5, for Beatrice Laura. Maybe you can ask her when her apartment was robbed.
Ms. Diaz, are you testifying right now or are you translating?
No, my mom was saying that to me.
Okay.
You said 2 or 3 years ago?
Yo creo que Beatriz es la que sabe más o menos.
Okay. But was it under the new ownership, the ownership of this new landlord, or was it under the ownership of the old landlord?
El anterior.
The previous owner.
Pero le dije a Lázaro, le mencioné eso, lo que había pasado, para que él pueda arreglarlo y no suceda nuevamente. Y él dijo que había cambiado la chapa, pero.
So the reason why she's saying this, she's saying because she mentioned it to him that's, that 4 times it has happened. So she didn't want it to happen again, and to make sure the door was really, I guess, good. That's why she mentioned it, but it's still the same.
Well, thank you for clarifying. I have a question, and Ms. Myers, please correct me if I'm wrong. As a landlord, you have a right to file with landlord-tenant court, right? If you feel unsafe, if there are any issues that you feel with the landlord, was that ever a thought? Have you guys went and filed to seek some kind of, I guess, counsel from a judge? Am I right, Ms. Myers? Okay, sorry, I just want to make sure.
Absolutely, a tenant can sue a landlord for a breach of the warranty of habitability, which is inherent in every lease agreement.
Especially if you're not safe, right? They feel unsafe and he isn't.
Yeah, and a grievance can be filed in multiple forms. It could be filed with the local code enforcement of the township. It could be an affirmative lawsuit filed against the landlord due to that breach, and safety issues. Absolutely.
Thank you.
¿Tú has pensado eso? Eso es lo que ellos quieren saber.
Ok. Cuando hablé para dar a Peter, ¿no? Cuando hablé con ellos de Canfor, me dijeron que yo le dije más o menos qué es lo que pasaba. Dijo que nosotros teníamos acceso a
Right. Yeah, I think Peter told her that, but she hasn't pursue any legal action, I guess you can say.
Thank you, Ms. Calderon.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, if no one else has any more questions on the board here, then I think we should turn it over to Mr. Vistardo so he can question Ms. Calderon. Mr. Vistardos?
I have a final question, Mr. Graziano. My apologies.
Okay.
How do you make your payments? If you do you send it in to him, or does he come and collect it from you directly? Is there somewhere where you drop it off? Is there an account that it is deposited in?
Ok, yo le pongo en el mailbox
Sí.
el money order.
She puts it in the mailbox as a money order.
Thank you. And then he picks it up, right, from you. So you put in your mailbox and then he picks it up from you. Okay.
Right.
Excuse me, I have one last question for Ms. Calderon. My question is, how long exactly has that door with the loose knob or with the lock that's somewhat insecure, how long has it been like this?
¿Desde cuándo ha estado esa puerta blanca?
Yeah, esa puerta está cuando yeah.
It's a long time.
Okay, thank you.
So shall we proceed with Mr. Vistardos, Madam Chair?
Yes, let's proceed with
Mr. Vistardos, if you have any questions of Ms. Calderon, then please proceed.
I have some questions and some things to address. So number one, I want to make it clear that outside door that has no lock on it never had a lock. That door was only had a handle and open, okay? It's an accessible door to get into a hallway, and then the main door to get into the whole building is afterwards. When I bought the building, I changed that lock. That lock is new, as you can see in the pictures. The previous lock did not lock properly and didn't close the door, didn't secure the door. That lock has been changed. In regards to the salt and the snow shovel, I hope you guys all remember we had a snow squall literally last week. So snow season isn't officially over just because we had one nice day today. So that's going to stay there until I know that I don't have to put any more salt down and nobody else has to clean any more snow out from the building. In that time, when the weather opens up, I can move that stuff to the basement, which is not an issue whatsoever. But again, that's staying there for their safety because it has to be cleaned and salted if it snows and gets icy outside. Number one.
Excuse me for a second, Mr. Vistardo, excuse me for a second. For the record, could you please turn on your camera for the hearing? Thank you.
Thank you, Peter.
Hold on a second. Everybody can see me?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's number one. Number two, regarding the lease and the rental increase and the name that should be on there, Ms. Calderon's daughter, I have leases from the old landlord from 1998, which was the previous lease that was officially signed. And then there were updates given, and I have the most recent update before I bought the building. And no other name other than Ms. Calderon's was on either one of those leases. The one from 1998 and the one from 2019 when I bought the building. So how would I know to add somebody else's name onto the lease when the leases that I've been provided by the seller were out without that, with only one name, and nobody told me anything? If I would have been addressed that and said, hey, can we add this person on? No problem. I would be glad to handle that. But unfortunately, at this point, as everybody knows here, we technically don't even have any leases. There's a month-to-month lease from last year. There's no ongoing leases with any tenants in the building, except Unit 1. So with that being said, like I said, I have documentation, the lease from 1998 from the previous owner, and that was $611, the rent on that one from 1998. So not sure what increases were even made in that time frame, but it is what it is. Now, again, that's that. Now, the other thing I want to talk about the whole snake issue that got brought up. I want to just make it very clear. When that issue happened, yes, I had rented the basement for storage, and that individual lied to me and started bringing, like everybody has heard already, snakes into the building. When I was informed of that, he left, snakes were gone, and I exterminated the whole building for mice, rats, and any infestation immediately after that was gone. And the health department was involved, police were involved, and the health department came and inspected after I did the extermination. So I addressed that issue if whatever I had to do with the town and zoning and the building department, that's my business and I handled that. But that issue that was there is no longer there. That has been rectified, fixed. That person has left the building. There's nobody occupying the basement at all, not for storage, not for anything. And again, I went through the proper channels that the town wanted me to go. The health department, building department, I did everything properly. I even got permits that I had to do for something that I had to do in the basement that Will Ordonez at the town needed me to do. I did that. I did everything legitimately, legally, and by health control laws, ordinances, and the zoning department. So that, again, it was an issue at some point. That is not an issue right now. So I'm not sure why it's even coming into play right now, but regardless, I handled that the proper way I had to.
So, Mr. Visardos, do you have any questions to ask of Ms. Calderon based on the testimony she gave tonight?
No, I don't have any questions. I just, honestly, anything anybody in the building has asked for me, we have done. Ms. Diaz, that's on the other, I think she's on the other call, on the other chat. She just the other day called, something was wrong with the toilet. We had somebody go the very next day. She needed a stove. I replaced the stove within a week when she needed it a few months ago. Right away, when somebody needs something in the building, I handle it. So I don't understand what the reasoning is that Mrs. Calderon is saying that she can't approach me, she can't communicate with me. Meanwhile, other tenants in the building are, and I'm fixing these items. So why should she be any different than any of the other tenants that I'm handling and taking care of? If she would just communicate with me and express to me what her concerns are, whether it be adding a name on a lease, or et cetera, or whatever else it is, it can be easily rectified and taken care of.
Okay, so.
I'm done.
And you don't have any questions of Ms. Calderon?
Absolutely
Okay,
not.
well then, Madam Chair, we should probably then proceed with the testimony of either Marisol Diaz or Beatrice Laura.
Who would like to speak now? And if you're going to be speaking, we have to see you on camera. Thank you.
Beatrice Laura.
Okay.
Okay, hable, no sé.
She has a translator. Lisbeth
Yes.
is the translator. Okay.
No le dicen nada.
Bueno, yo no le digo nada al señor
Ujú.
porque, o sea, empezando, siento que me falta el respeto
Ujú,
en uno de los mensajes, entonces me siento incómoda,
ujú,
pero entonces yo le envío el dinero a él por Cele. No le digo si hay algún problema, tengo problema en el zinc. No le digo a él porque me siento, ¿cómo se dice eso? De que me va
ujú,
intimidada de que, no, por eso váyase, porque yo le he dicho que se vaya
ujú.
para poder arreglar. Ese es el punto y en este momento no tengo dónde irme.
Mhm. Okay, so she says right now she doesn't have anywhere else to go. And in the past, she has felt like since the beginning, disrespected and intimidated by him, by words that he has used, as well as messages that they have had between each other where she felt disrespected. And if she has any problem with the building, she kind of just doesn't talk to him about it, because for the same reason that he has already told her, if you have a problem, then just leave. Okay, see ya.
Ok, lo de la puerta, hace mucho tiempo que está así,
Mhm,
eso no es nuevo,
Ujú.
él nunca arregló nada, ni cambió llaves, ni nada. Y que sí, que se entraron a robar en mi apartamento hace algunos 4 años,
Mhm.
y claro, vivo con miedo porque no arreglan eso y tampoco le digo, ninguno nos atrevemos a decirle porque él nos dice, por eso quiero que se vayan para arreglar.
Like about 4 years ago, they entered into her apartment to steal, and basically since then, she has lived in fear. And she also said that he talked about that he changed the doorknobs, and she claims that he hasn't, and that the front door, the one that goes towards the street, that has been like broken for like a really long time ago.
Ok. ¿Nunca han limpiado arriba?
They've never cleaned upstairs, despite him saying that the apartment one should be in charge of cleaning the building. ¿Qué más?
What else? Like, eso sería todo. ¿Qué más? Sí, que no me atrevo a hablar. Oh, le dijiste que lo de la renta yo siempre se lo estoy enviando por Cele.
Mhm. Yeah, and for the same reasons that she feels towards him, she first used to give checks, but now she's just giving Zelle to avoid any kind of confrontation or conversation with him. So sería eso todo?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's all for Beatrice.
Okay, Beatrice, thank you.
Does
Mr.
anyone,
Yeah, go
does
ahead.
anyone have any questions from the board? Anyone from the board have any questions for Ms. Laura before we allow Mr. Visardos to question Ms. Laura? I have a question, although I'm not a board member. Ms. Laura, you said they broke into your apartment about 4 years ago. Who is they?
¿Quién fue el que entró a su apartamento a robarle?
Ok, no sabemos quién entró.
We don't know who it was, but we
Okay.
just happened, yes.
Okay.
I have a question. Ms. Laura, you indicated that the landlord did not change the doorknob. Are we talking about the same door that we have a picture of that was previously posted on the screen? Is that, because he in his rebuttal, he said that he did change the knob to that door. Are we talking about the same door?
No, he don't change it. Let me llave.
Yeah, no, he hasn't changed it. It's the same key too, so no, he hasn't changed it.
Thank you.
Hello, Miss Laura. Melinda, Board Member Huerta. I have a question about your payment through Zelle. That is, what account is that being deposited into? Do you know?
Yes.
His personal account through his phone number.
Thank you.
El toile mío también está dañado. Y yo esto
my-
también.
My next question is about, were you the applicant that was trying to submit the screenshots?
Yes.
And you were not able to submit the screenshots for evidence?
No, because she was told that she had to notarize them and we had a deadline for Thursday, so she was not able to do it within the last day. Because
So-
that's when we had asked, like a day before the deadline.
So who asked you to notarize the, so
I spoke to Peter.
okay.
Mr. Garciano, maybe this is a question I should save for later, because I was going to ask you about the necessity of something like that, notarizing an email. But
No one,
you know, go
I'm
ahead.
hearing this for the first time tonight.
Yeah, as am I.
No, it was in the, excuse me, it was in the correspondence. It was in the, I read through the whole packet and the correspondence regarding the screenshot and it needing to be the requirements. It's all the dialogue is included in everything we have.
I did read this, the transcript or the emails, but my question is, why does it need to be notarized? That's not in our ordinance anywhere. So there's not, if she could have submitted that, I don't understand the purpose of it being notarized, but that's like Kavira said, I would rather discuss that later. But I would have liked to let this applicant or objector have that opportunity to submit that, because I think that is valuable information to be presented. And if we could, I would still like to allow her to submit that.
I can submit it right now. Just give me like a minute.
Thank you.
You.
I do have another question for you, Mrs. Laura. When you signed your lease, were you also given just the page to sign, or were you given the lease in its entirety so that you can read it and review it and understand what you were signing when you signed that lease?
Oh, just one page, just the last
No,
page.
just the last page?
Yes.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I have a question. So I'm just wondering how Miss Laura is going to get that to the entire board, because it seems like she only has, yeah, the email address to Peter. I mean, is there a way for us to timely be privy to that email that she's about to share with Peter? I'm just curious about that.
Mr. Mr. Graziano, if I can interject about this, about notary and everything else, if that's possible.
It is. Go ahead, Peter.
Well, the email I think we're talking about was on April 1st, 2022. It had nothing to do with notary. It was the fact that the pictures were were screenshots and I could not print them. And so if they wanted to send them to me, they could put them into PDFs. It wasn't about notary. It was due to technical difficulties. So, so Ms. Cartagena did want to submit these to me. I asked her if she could do them in PDF, but there was never, and I just reviewed the emails. I didn't see anything there about notary. It was about technicality, not notary.
I apologize. I apologize for that, Peter. I meant that I knew there was some reason that the screenshots could not be submitted. I did read it, but okay, thanks for clarifying.
I also did read that in that correspondence regarding the screenshots that she had a limited amount of time to produce them, which I didn't understand because there was no time frame or time limit for.
To follow up on that, there was a subsequent phone conversation that said, just please get them to me. So there was which wasn't memorialized in email.
Right, that's why I was going by what I have in my packet.
But there was a subsequent phone conversation about it.
So, like I said before, I would like to ask her to submit that and be able to present it to us.
Miss Laura? Where did it go?
Yes, we're doing it through my phone. I'm trying to send it through my phone. We're only using one device. That's why.
So you're sending it to all of us, or?
I only have Peter's email, so I guess you just have to forward it to everyone else.
Our emails are our emails on the website or is it just our names on the township website?
I'm not sure.
I'm asking Mrs. Esmeralda. It's just our names.
It's just everything filters through me. Your names are on there. We don't, because that's your personal emails. So we do not publish them on the board or on the website.
Well, while Miss Cartagena emails it to Peter, may I ask a question to the applicant? Or do we have to wait? Oh, she did it already. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, I just sent it.
Okay.
So, Ms. Geber-Michael, you have a question of Ms. Laura?
No, Mr. Vastardos, I wanted to ask him.
Oh, he hasn't gone yet.
We have to wait.
We're still asking questions of Ms. Laura, and we're trying to exhaust that process first. And then when we get done with that, then we can move on to Mr. Vastardos.
Okay. Miss Laura, while we're waiting for the documents to be sent, did Mr. Vastardos ever email you the lease?
Le mandó un correo electrónico del lease.
No.
No. Through email, no.
Has he ever did he give you a copy of the lease?
Le dio una copia?
Recently, no.
No, just the last one.
What do you mean by the last one? So the one that we have on file, because we have a full lease in front of us that you signed, or it appears that you signed. So did you ever receive a full lease, or you only received the last copy to sign?
Solo esa copia recibió.
Yeah, last copy.
The last page.
Solo la última página fue que recibió para firmarla.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you've never seen the entire lease?
Nunca vio el entire lease?
No.
No, she claims no.
Lo mismo que nos dio a todas, ¿no? La última página. A todas nos dio una sola página, ¿verdad?
Sí.
Thank you.
Members of the board, I just received that document or that email and I just forwarded it to everyone.
Thank you, Peter.
So do we have to, Peter, do we have to, I guess we have to look where in our private emails then, separate and apart?
Whatever email you have on account with me here is the one I sent it to.
Okay, thank you, Peter. Does anyone see it? I'm not,
I see it.
I
okay,
have it.
okay, cool.
I have it as well, but it's coming up very large, so I'm having trouble reading it. Oh, hold on one second. Okay.
Yeah, I just got it too.
Yep,
Are you seeing it?
I think I'm able to see it now, yes.
It's a bunch of text messages or screenshots
Mm-hmm.
between
Yes.
applicant and the tenant.
Miss Laura, I do actually have now another question. Are you how much did he raise the rent for you? The 2% or the 3%?
¿Cuánto le sube usted? ¿El 2 o 3?
Me subió el 3, pero le dije que solo le iba a dar el 2, que era lo legal.
He raised it to 3, but she told him that she was only going to pay 2% because that was the legal amount that she was able to pay.
Okay. So she's been paying the 2% increase.
El
Yes.
2%.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Miss Laura, I can't see the dates on all of these messages. At the very top, I'm just wondering what date were the very first messages sent. I do see the one from February 4th going down.
It's January 13th of this year.
Okay, thank you.
Do any other board members have any questions of Ms. Laura before we allow Mr. Vistardos?
I'm just reading over the, are these texts or, yeah, these are texts. So I'm just reading over the text to gauge whether or not I want to ask her questions about it. Sorry.
Mr. Graziano, should we allow Mr. Vistardos to respond, or do we have to wait until Ms. Myers finishes reviewing the text? I'd like to.
I know what, I think, Madam Chair, we'd be best to keep everything in its proper lanes and everything, because otherwise it's going to create a very confusing record. So
Okay,
we're still at the point at which the board is asking questions of Ms. Laura, and once we're all done with that, then Mr. Vistardos should ask his questions.
okay, sounds good.
I'm good. I'm done. Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Okay. So if no one has any further questions, can we proceed with Mr. Vistardos? See if he has any questions or anything to respond to. Mr. Vistardos, are you there?
I have no further questions, so yes, please.
Okay,
Thank you.
okay. Any
Yes, I'm here.
comments?
What I believe is happening here, I think these folks are misunderstanding. The previous landlord was giving them one-page leases to extend their lease every year. When I provided my first lease in January of last year, every single tenant received a copy of the lease, and they had the ability to read the whole lease before signing and giving it, and me signing 2 copies essentially. So that what I'm hearing right now about that's a lie. That did not happen. I have the leases. I've provided them to you. They are not recent because they're from January of last year. There's no new leases because no, I didn't want, those are month-to-month leases. These tenants are month-to-month now.
Mr. Versardos, did you send them a copy of the lease via email?
No, not via email. They were handed them in person
Okay.
by myself, me. I handed it to them.
You're claiming full copy, not just the back.
Correct. Yes, absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
I again, don't forget, as I said in the beginning on the first meetings, I am a real estate agent in the area. I am an investor in the area. This is not the only property I own. These are not my only tenants that I have. The same goes for my partner as well. So we're very, very knowledgeable in certain things that we have to do with very simple things as signing a lease and handing it to your tenants. So yes, I fully did that properly and legally.
Thank you. That's it for me.
Mr. Vistardos, do you have any questions specifically of Miss Laura concerning her testimony?
Yeah, I just have one quick question for her. She's sitting next to one of my other tenants, Marisol Diaz. The question that I have is, because clearly they're together right now, so they have a relationship, a friendship of some sort. So my question to her is, when Miss Diaz's stove was replaced a few months ago, was she aware of it? And then also when I went to fix, when we sent somebody to fix the plumbing issue just the other week, Miss Diaz, does Miss Laura know about that?
No.
¿Cómo?
Que-
Que si usted le había comentado a ella de que él ha venido aquí a arreglar
cambiar
las
el
cosas.
baño y a cambiar la estufa.
Pues si yo no hablo con ella.
Se supone, él cree que nosotros somos
amigas.
muy amigas y, o sea, somos vecinas, pero no nos comunicamos todo el tiempo.
Apenas se lo dije hoy.
¿Él está escuchando?
Sí.
Okay.
She was just told that today.
Yeah.
Marisol just told her that today, that he had come to fix.
The stove too?
Yes, she was saying like just now that you changed the stove and fix her bathroom today.
So then my next question is, so when you two speak, you only speak about negative things and never positive things?
Dice que cuando ustedes se reúnen, que solo hablan de cosas negativas sobre él, no positivas.
¿Y cuándo nos reunimos?
Está hablando de ustedes dos.
Que no,
Yo con ella ni la veo.
right? We don't talk negative stuff about you because we don't. Honest with you, I don't see you at all.
Como si tú
And
vivieras
she's
aquí.
the only one, like, she can see you because she gives the money to you for the rent and everything, and she talks to you. I don't, because I'm not here all the time. You know what I mean? And it's like I never talk bad about you.
Ni a mi hermana veo.
So, but it's like I don't feel comfortable with the words that you put that day. Honest with you, because I don't talk to you bad. And you was laughing at me, you know? It's like I feel bad.
Yeah, all I'm trying to just confirm that is if you knew the benefit, the good things that I'm doing for the building. When somebody called me and said that the stove wasn't working, I bought a brand new stove and replaced it. When there was a plumbing problem with the toilet, I fixed it. So again, everybody on this call is trying to point me out to be a bad person, that I'm not fixing things in the property. But why can't we bring up the items that I have fixed, that I have taken care of?
Okay, yeah, but she mentioned that she feels uncomfortable, and when you feel uncomfortable or harassed by someone because they made fun of you through a text message, obviously you don't want to confront them or speak to them.
Ms. Cartagena, stop for a second, please. Are you testifying right now, or are you translating something that Ms. Laura said?
I'm translating for her.
She said all that just now? Because she was speaking English a moment ago.
Yeah.
What you're saying now is different than the stuff she was saying in English just now. So my question of you is, are you translating right now, or are you giving testimony?
I'm translating because what she said, I feel like the words were not completely clear. So I just wanted to refresh because he's talking about the relationship between Marisol and her, but she's just saying like, yeah, we're neighbors, but it's not like we're besties. So there's like, he's talking about like, do you guys talk about the positive and negative stuff? But she's like, I just feel uncomfortable around you. Like that's it. Even if he does positive stuff, she just feels uncomfortable around him. And if you read the text messages, it's just disrespectful and unprofessional. That's it.
Okay, Mr. Vistardos, any more questions of Ms. Laura?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, then, Madam Chair, should we hear now from Ms. Diaz?
Absolutely.
Buenas tardes. Yo no sé por qué Lázaro nunca ha querido negociar con nosotros. Yo la primera vez que vino a corrernos de la casa, le ofrecí 1,200 y él no los quiso.
So she's saying that when Lazarus first came to tell us that we had to leave the apartment, that she had offered him 1,200 and he didn't want them.
Dijo que él quería su building vacío.
He just wanted his building emptied.
Y si lo quería vacío, lo hubiese pedido vacío cuando lo compró. Sería un poquito más fácil para él.
Yeah, if he would have wanted the building empty, he would have just asked it from the beginning when he first wanted to like buy it from Joe.
Ahora él dijo que quería remodelar.
He said he wanted to remodel.
La del primer piso se fue y ahí no le metió ni un foco.
That the people from the first apartment, when they left, he didn't do anything, and then he put new tenants after.
Hubiera remodelado y después ofrecido como nuevo y tal vez se le hubieran dado los 1,400, pero él no, su intención no es hacer nada.
His intention is not to remodel anything, because if he would have wanted to remodel the building, he would have just started with apartment 1 when there was no tenants, but he still gave the apartment to someone new.
Y a mí sí me ha arreglado, lo único que me ha arreglado es el baño y la estufa. Y porque lo tiene que hacer, porque la estufa ya estaba para la basura.
And she does confess that he has come to fix the toilet and the stove. And she said that obviously the stove had to be changed because it was already like ruined. It was garbage almost.
Ahora está pidiendo casi el 100% de aumento. Yo podría darle un aumento considerable, pero en el plan que se pone él, ahora es lo que es, el 2%. Yo le daba el 3%. Y esta vez él puso que yo pagaba el 2%, pero yo le daba el 3%.
She says that when he shared the prices that everyone pays, that she paid 3%, but he only mentioned the 2% there, but now she's paying 2%. She said that if he would have just offered, I guess, an increase that was okay, she would have just given it to him, but the way that he just makes us feel, she just doesn't want to make a deal with him at all.
Ahora, cuando cae nieve, no echa ni un granito de sal. El del primer piso está encargado de limpiar, pero nunca limpia.
She says that apartment 1 are the ones who are supposed to be cleaning for like the salt and everything. And when it snowed previously, like no one ever really went to go put salt.
La última que fue puro hielo negro, yo me iba a caer por la parte de atrás. Estoy embarazada. ¿Se imagina algo así para él?
So she says that she is pregnant and that in the back, when it had snowed, that there was black ice and she almost fell, and she is pregnant at the time.
El building siempre está sucio. El muchacho limpió en estos días, cuando yo limpié la parte del segundo piso, el segundo piso. Yo siempre he limpiado el segundo piso junto con la señora de enfrente del apartamento 4. Pero el muchacho nunca ha subido a limpiar arriba.
And she's mentioned that the tenants in apartment 1, they have the deal that they should be cleaning the building. And she says that they never come and clean upstairs because she cleans, or either the tenants from apartment 4 clean.
Igual yo en mi tengo que yo saco la basura a cambio del parking que él me da.
And in the lease, she she has told him that she will take out the trash in order for him to give her parking. Diga que el apartamento 1 es que él ha puesto que el apartamento 1 saca la basura.
Oh, y él dijo que el apartamento 1 sacaba la basura, pero yo saco la basura y el recicle.
And he mentioned like a meeting ago that apartment 1 was the one who would take out the trash when it's actually her that takes out the trash and the recycling.
Ahora también, él dice que hace y que hace. A mí sí me ha hecho cosas, pero se cayó una lámpara, ahí está la lámpara abajo, en la puerta del basement.
So he has said that he does come and fix her stuff, but there is a lamp, like the cover of the lamp downstairs that is just on the floor. It's just, he never placed it again.
Y de la puerta, de lo que estaban hablando de la puerta, tal vez la cambió. Yo en estos días me quedé afuera cuando fui a dejar a mi niño a la escuela y abrí con un plástico la puerta de la entrada.
She says that maybe he could have changed the new doorknob or whatever, but the other day she left her keys in here, so she ended up just opening the door with something plastic, so she could just enter the building just with that plastic piece.
Y yo aquí vivo desde el 2014.
And she has been living here since 2014.
Soy la que tiene menos años de todas las señoras.
She's the one who has been living here less time than everyone else in the building.
Yeah,
that would be all.
Okay.
Board members, any questions?
I do have questions. You said you lived since 2014. At that time, what was your rent when you came into the building?
En el 2014 fue como de empecé con 800, creo.
She believes maybe like around 800, an estimate.
And had that landlord increased it annually as well?
Y ese, si Joe subía la renta anualmente?
Sí.
Yes.
Yo tengo los papeles si los quiere.
She has the,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
yeah, she has the lease of the years to prove that he was raising the rent.
When you signed the new lease in January, did you have the entire lease or did he give you only the last page to sign?
Que si él le dio a usted el lease de una página o el paquete entero.
No, el paquete entero.
She claims that he did give her the complete package.
¿Y cuántos venían? Yo no me acuerdo.
Pues era bastante. Yo, no, el dueño viejo.
No,
No, el nuevo.
el nuevo.
Lázaro.
Ajá,
No,
Lázaro.
Lázaro fue lo mismo que ellas.
Oh, she got confused. She thought you were talking about the previous landlord, but this new landlord, it's just the back page.
One page.
So he's claiming, or he's saying that he's given everyone the lease, but you're saying that he did not give you the lease. Did he give you all the lease at one time? He gave everyone the paper at one time you were all together when he had you sign it? Or did you each individually receive the final page to sign?
Individually.
Individually. Okay. And when you pay your rent, how do you pay? How do you make your payments?
¿Cómo paga usted la renta?
Cash.
Cash. She gives it to him in persona, ¿verdad?
Sí, él viene por ella.
Yeah, he comes to the apartment.
And do you receive receipts?
¿Usted le dan recibos?
Sí.
Yes.
And you don't know where that payment of your rent is going?
Usted no sabe dónde él está depositando ese dinero que usted le da.
No.
No.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
I have a question, and I'm sorry, objector, can you please tell me your last name?
Diga su apellido.
Díaz.
Diaz.
Diaz, okay. D-I-A-Z?
D-I-A-Z, yes.
Okay, thank you, Miss Diaz. And what is the form in which you are allowed to pay your rent? Are you only allowed to pay it in cash, or can you pay it in other ways?
Si usted solo puede dar cash o lo puede pagar en otra forma, o es su preferencia solo dar así, o no puede pagar en otra forma.
Pues podría ser por la aplicación de Zelle.
She could do Zelle, but she prefers cash.
Okay, and if you use Zelle, are there any extra fees associated with that, to your knowledge?
Right? No.
No. No.
Okay, so Zelle and cash, those are the only options that you have, correct?
Mhm.
And,
Yes.
and how do you know that these are your options? Is that written in your lease agreement? Is this something the landlord verbally told you? How do you know?
¿Que solo le paga cash porque él le ha dicho a usted o porque usted ha preferido hacer eso?
No, porque yo se lo he preferido hacer.
That's her preference. It's not in the lease. It's just her preference.
Okay, so I'm going to assume that she said to the landlord, this is how I prefer, and he said, okay,
Yeah.
that's fine. Got you. Nothing further. Thank you.
Anyone else have any questions? Okay. Mr. Vistardos, do you have any questions or comments regarding Ms. Diaz's comments?
Trying to think. No. I'm good.
Okay. All right. So, Mr. Graziano, I guess at this point, I should ask if anyone has any other comments. We know that Mr. Vistardos has made his case. Should I just pose to the objectors if whether or not they have anything else to say?
Yes, you should, Madam Chair, because you want to make sure that they've got their entire case in.
Okay, so then Ms. Calderon, Ms. Lorza, and Ms. Diaz.
Wait.
Oh,
Can I?
There we go.
Can I interrupt? I do have something to say. I'm sorry.
okay. Go ahead,
All right, so-
Mr. Vistardos.
The one thing that was brought up by Ms. Diaz is that when the first floor tenants left, and they renovated, we didn't renovate and we re-rented it. Well, there's two things that I need to say in response to that. Number one is in order to renovate the building like we want to renovate the building, there needs to be extensive plumbing work done and electric work done. And all these units, especially with plumbing, are interconnected. So it's starting to change plumbing in one unit could cause damage to the other and not have plumbing in the other. That's number one. And number two, as I'm here asking for assistance to be able to cover my expenses on it, I had to rent it because I was able to get more cash flow coming in. Those are the two reasons why that apartment did not get renovated.
Thank you, Mr. Vistardos. Okay. I'll go back to where I was. Ms. Calderon, Ms. Lorza, Ms. Diaz. Do you have anything further you'd like to add to your objections?
Yes, Ms. Diaz.
Si se puede, cuando esté sucio afuera, que trate de limpiar, porque una vez vino el town a llamarle la atención, porque parecía que estamos en abandono aquí.
She says that anytime it is dirty, if he could please clean up at front, because one time even the town came to tell them that it was really dirty outside.
Okay. Anybody else have any comments among our objectors?
I have a follow-up question
Oh, okay.
to the
No problem.
objector.
Okay.
So you said that the town has come to bring it to the attention of the landlord that it's unkept in the front. To your knowledge, has the Township of West Orange ever come to make an inspection and to make sure that your building is up to code and in compliance with the code? What is it, Kabira, the habitability? You're muted.
Yeah, I think you were good. If it met, code.
Right.
Yeah.
Standards of habitability, is that what they call it?
Warranty of habitability.
Right, that's the one. To make sure that it's up to code and compliant with.
Ms. Diaz says no.
So they have not come to inspect?
No.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, so then I object.
I believe Mr. Vistardos has his hand
Okay.
raised.
Okay.
Yeah.
Vistardos.
So in regards to the town coming to speak to me, I happened to be there that day that Fatima from the zoning board, she came and she was actually complaining to the whole block because it was the day after we had a big storm and there was debris all over the block. So when I actually spoke to her in front of my building that day that she came and she was taking pictures of the building, I asked, I said, what's going on here? I said, there's debris all over the block. She goes, yeah, we're going to all the owners of all the buildings and we're asking them to clean up in front of the building because of the storm.
So you're confirming it wasn't specific to you and your building?
Correct.
Okay,
Absolutely.
okay.
Hold on, I'm trying to think. There was something else that she just mentioned. Inspections. I'm assuming everybody on the board knows that there's a state inspection that has to get done on any building over 4 units, over 3 units, quite frankly. 3 or more have to have a state inspection done every 5 years. It was just done last year. Also, when ownership changes of a property from a seller to a buyer, a certificate of habitability, certificate of occupancy, certificate of continued occupancy has to be provided legally, or else your attorney won't even let you close because they can be fined. So when me and my partner took ownership of the building, we did get a certificate. I have to find it. I'm not sure what it's called specifically. Every town is a little different. But I think it's certificate of continued eligibility in this case. I have it right in front of me, inspection report and orders of the commission, regulation maintenance of hotel and multiple dwelling, you are here to order, comply with the orders, blah, blah, blah. And I have it with no violations. So I'm not sure what further inspection I'm required to do, but I've done the town inspection and I've also done state inspections. So if there's another inspection that I need to do, by all means, I'll be glad to do it, but I have done everything legally and properly.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Vistardos. So, does anyone else have anything further to say? Any other questions to ask?
Are
Okay.
we able, is this the time, Mr. Graziano, when we ask questions to Mr. Vistardos, or is that over?
That's over, Ms. Huerta. Mr. Visardos presented his case, and he said he was concluded. So,
Well,
right
now
now-
that, just because I have follow-up questions because of some of the statements that the tenants had made. So I'm not able to ask him anymore, because Asmaret asked him a question earlier and he replied.
Okay, I guess if anybody else has any questions of Mr. Vistardos, because his testimony was more in the nature of rebuttal than it was actual questioning of cross-examination of the witnesses. But remember, he's acting as his own counsel here, so we have to grant him some leeway on that. So ask away, everybody. Go ahead.
Okay, Mr. Vistardos, my question to you is in regard to, I'm sorry, it just left me. Hold on one second. My apologies. Oh, the bank account, the deposits. So to my understanding, according to the Security Deposit Act, are you not required to have a separate account for each with an interest-bearing, interest-bearing account for each individual tenant or apartment unit that you're renting?
I have everything in my LLC name, in the building name. So there's a separate account that I have that all goes into the building fund. But
the tenants are claiming that they're depositing through Zelle to your personal account.
I mean, not, without disrespect in saying this, how I collect my money every month, where it ends up going, that has something to do with me and the IRS, doesn't it? I mean, I'm the landlord, I'm collecting the funds. If they're choosing to Zelle me the funds to my personal name, I'm moving those funds into my LLC bank account.
So another thing that I noticed in regard to your lease, to your leases that you gave them, it does not state the bank account where it's going to, which is a requirement as well for your leases.
Okay, again, I did not put that on there. You're right.
Okay. I have no further questions.
Okay, then if everyone is satisfied with Mr. Vistardos' answers, and if the objectors have nothing else to say, can we consider this, that the objectors have closed their case?
Objectors, please answer that. You have anything else to add, or are you done?
Nada más de decir.
Yes, we're done.
Okay, okay, thank you.
Yeah,
And,
we're done too.
excuse me?
Ms. Diaz said she's done.
Okay.
Elizabeth Diaz from Ms. Calderon.
Right.
Thank you, thank you. Ms. Diaz, okay, we can't see you right now, but however, okay, Mr. Graziano, Attorney Graziano. Now that all items are closed, do we, the next step would be what, that we make a decision?
Well, I think based on our conversation before this hearing began,
Take a vote.
we should vote on whether
Yes.
we want to try to decide this tonight or whether we want to postpone our decision to our next meeting, and in the meantime, during which we'll deliberate.
Okay, so then Peter, I would love it if you would.
Wait, I have a question. I'm sorry. There
Yes.
are 4 of us. What if it's a tiebreaker, 2 and 2? Is there a tiebreaker? Do we have
Nope,
to
our
wait
ordinance, our
until?
ordinance doesn't provide for that, unfortunately. So if there's a tie, then we can't decide. We have to wait until we have
That's what
an
I'm
odd
wondering.
number so that we
Okay.
can get hopefully a majority vote.
What about
Okay.
the
One way
other
or the
members
other.
of the board that are not here tonight? Will they not have an opportunity to vote?
So
They're
they'll
not
have,
here to. Mhm.
if we vote tonight, Mr. Vistardos, they won't have an opportunity to vote because we're voting tonight. If we postpone it, then they would have an opportunity to vote, although they're going to be a little bit behind the 8 ball because they didn't hear tonight's testimony. They'll have to look at what was submitted and try to get along as best they can.
I do have a question. When
the
we
hearing
deliberate, if the hearing is over and now it is the time, if we decide that we deliberate, do we deliberate in front of the applicants and the objectors, or do they come off the screen as well, off the call, and then they can observe in a public, like in a pub, as a public?
No, we deliberate on the record. I think the point that you're making, Ms. Huerta, as to whether they're still active on the call or whether they're merely observing, I think is a distinction without a difference. We deliberate publicly.
Okay.
Whether they can chime in or not, and I would suggest maybe they should be. They shouldn't be able to further participate. They should be able to just listen and observe.
Right. Okay. And do we have on the agenda a public session after we make whatever decisions, or is that on there?
No, we just have.
Oh, public comment. We do have public comment, so they can, if we deliberate or whatever we discuss after or during this, they can make comments as public, right? Members of
But
the
no new
public.
public comments after 8, right?
That's
Is that-
right. That's
So,
correct.
okay.
It is 7:44.
So are we supposed to be finished with the business or the meeting as well? We are not supposed to do anything for past the 8 o'clock?
Well, the agenda says no new matters will be started
Okay,
after
I
8
understand.
o'clock.
So
We're
that's-
still right smack dab
Right.
in the middle of this matter.
Okay, got it. Understood.
Okay, if I may, Peter, if we could take a vote and decide whether we are going to vote on this issue this evening or postpone. Can you do that for me?
So Madam Chair, you are making a motion.
Yes, I'm making a motion.
Okay,
Yes.
so you are making the motion to
Yes,
determine if we're going to have the vote this evening, correct?
exactly. I'm making a
Okay.
motion to determine whether or not we are going to have the vote this evening.
I second the motion.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor of whether the board is going to decide tonight to vote on the application of Mr. Vistardo or 91 Ashland Ave LLC. And
Correct.
we have a second by board member Asmer Gedler Michael. At this point, I don't know if you want to open up the discussion or you just want to go to the vote, Madam Chair.
I would prefer to go to the vote.
Okay, so in the matter of that motion,
Excuse me.
board member Huerta,
No.
board member Gedler Michael,
Yes.
Board Member Myers,
And I am so sorry. The question is whether we should vote on the application tonight or save it for later.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay, and my answer is save the voting on the application for later, not vote tonight.
it's no. Madam Chair,
Yes,
Madam Chair, that is a split 2-2.
duly noted.
There's no majority.
There is not. So Attorney Graziano, does that mean that things are postponed?
We are, I guess, de facto postponed into next month, because we can't do anything further tonight.
Okay.
So if I may, my recommendation is to have a workshop where we can, well, I don't know. I mean, Mr. Graziano, correct me if I'm wrong. The deliberation that we want to do in the application, must it be at another official meeting? That meeting that's happening a month from today? Or can the deliberations be done at a workshop and then we just go on the record next month with our final decision and then move on to new business next month?
As long as the hearing is public, whether it's a workshop which we deliberate, or whether it's the next official meeting at which we might deliver our decision, as long as it's public, we're okay, Ms. Myers, regarding deliberations.
That's a great suggestion, Ms. Myers. I'm totally down for us speaking, via workshop to decide, so we can have new business at the next meeting. Do we have to
agree.
May I
get a motion
comment?
going or for that, or?
Before you proceed, may I comment? If it's going to be public anyway, why does it have to be deemed a workshop? The public is going to attend and they have to hear us deliberate.
In a workshop, the public doesn't comment. And in a public, like, for example, now we have to, we are obligated to give the public a moment to comment. I think that's.
Is that true, Mr. Attorney Graziano?
Yes, that's correct.
So in other words, they can be present, but we're just deliberating, we're amongst ourselves.
And Mr.
Listen.
Graziano, if I'm correct, if I'm not mistaken, we do not vote in a workshop, we just deliberate, correct? That we don't take any official or.
I think that's best to create a clean record that we can talk about it certainly in a public workshop, but we should probably deliver our decision and have our official vote at a regularly scheduled meeting.
I have another a question or comment. Can we have an executive session or another meeting instead of just having one meeting a month? Can we call for a special meeting where we can actually deliberate and vote versus waiting until the next month?
Oh, I like that
Is that
idea.
a possibility? Because it happens with council, other meetings sometimes.
As long as as the meeting is public and the public can hear our deliberations, I suppose it doesn't matter whether we call it a workshop or we call it an official meeting or a special meeting.
Right?
We as long as it's public, we can vote on it.
Okay.
We can
only go.
Okay.
We can only go into executive session to discuss matters that are private, someone's private matter, or, if we were the mayor and council, someone's compensation or salary or pending litigation, or if I was counseling you as attorney, that can be in an executive session, not open to the public, but everything else we do has to be in public on the record.
So can we just call another special hearing or something like within, what is it? We need 10 days to post it per Open Records Act?
It would be 48 hours.
48 hours. Okay. Sorry, I'm thinking on a county level, we need 10 days to post.
Provided 48 hours notice.
Um,
We need to notify at least 48 hours in advance. And as per the chair, if the chair would like to call that special meeting, she would notify me, and we could select a date and I could properly notice it. And based on conversation with the board, I would suggest we do it at least 7 days in advance so we give everybody ample time.
So Board Member Myers, President or Chair woman founder, sorry. and board
Yes,
member, where's
yes,
that?
yes.
Well, what do you guys think about that? Instead of waiting a whole nother month?
I would love it. I would love it.
I'm fine with that, as long as it's not scheduled too close to today's hearing, because I still would like to review the evidence that was submitted. Maybe go over the testimony one more time. I would like, at least a week to do that, a week, maybe even 2 weeks to do that. And then we can, reconvene and deliberate. And I suppose, make a decision, at this upcoming interim meeting, and then go on to.
How about
new
April
business.
28th? What do you think about April 28th, 2 weeks from now?
I'm on vacation, ladies and gentlemen. You won't see my smiling face at that meeting.
Good
Oh,
for you.
Well, when do
can
you
I
come
add-
back, Mr. Graziano? Because I think that we would need your guidance.
So you know it, you know it.
I am due back in the office on May 2nd, and I would say, please, I beg of you, don't make it May 3rd, because I'm going to be snowed under for having, the temerity to try to leave my office for a week and a half.
When do you leave on vacation?
April 21, 1 week from today,
Wow.
I'm leaving. A week from yesterday will be my last day in the office until May 2.
And Edo Fitter is on May the 2nd. So I don't know if we want to do it on Edo Fitter.
No,
Yeah.
I will not be available on that day.
Um,
And then May 5th as well. It's kind of a holiday
Should
for
this
me
be
as well.
should we do like we typically do, with all due respect, and we usually get an email and then everyone says yes or no to the date? Do you think we should discuss that this evening? We know.
I
that
would prefer to lock in a date now while we're here on the
Same.
call.
Okay.
What about Wednesday, the 4th? Mr. Graziano and board members.
and can I just make a request, a humble request, that we please not schedule these meetings anytime before 5? Because that is why I was unable to attend the last 2 meetings, because I have court appearances sometimes, and I'm at work sometimes until 8, 9 o'clock.
Aren't we all? I'm still at work.
So
I'm at work right now. So all I'm saying is this. I definitely, can we meet between 5 and 6 or around 5 o'clock if it's going to be May 4th?
Madam Chair, we cannot meet May 4th because that is the planning board that day.
Oh,
And both Megan and myself will be tied up.
no
in that
problem.
particular meeting.
I'm telling you, it's going
May
to be more
6th?
challenging than you think,
Can
guys.
we do a Friday, May 6th? Are you guys okay with that at 6 p.m.?
I can make that happen.
I
Wait
can
a
do
minute.
6
I cannot
p.m.
be available May 6th that night. I'm sorry.
It's going to have to go into
How about
the next week.
How about May 10th? May 10th is a Tuesday night. I don't
Well,
know if
Peter,
there's any
are you obligated to be at the meeting?
No, I'm not obligated, but then I'll have to get somebody to fill in and to take notes and everything else.
Guess what? I don't think I can do May 6th anyway either, because my son, no, I have to go drive to pick him up because his dorm closes, not that you care, but all his residential housing closes on Saturday. I've got to drive to Georgia. I will not be available probably May 5th, 6th, or 7th.
Is May
And then
9th
after
out of the
that-
question?
And the 10th is the.
And then
I was
after
just
that will be
informed
the
10th is
regular May
council
meeting, right?
I guess that's when we're
When
doing
is
it.
when is our regular May meeting? The
Our
11th?
regular
12th,
meeting
right?
is May 12th.
Oh, May 12th. Wait, I
Then we'll
thought it
have to
said
wait
May
for-
11th on the agenda, no?
Well, wait,
No, May 12 on the
Oh,
agenda.
okay.
Yes, it's
Okay.
May 12th.
I
All
read.
right, so is that, I guess that's when we're doing it then?
Yeah.
I mean,
That what we're
That's
deciding?
where- So our vote was for no purpose.
because we're not available
Meeting on
anyway.
May
No,
12th?
no, it wasn't in vain, because
Well,
remember, the question was, do we vote
we
on
vote
the
now.
application tonight?
Okay,
Mhm.
so
And
we're
we're
not.
going, so we're
Right,
not, and we're
yeah.
deliberating on May 11th, at the
Everybody's
next.
happy.
I mean, I was just making the recommendation that we get the deliberations out of the way before the upcoming meeting, so that we can handle new business at that upcoming meeting.
It would have been awesome. And
Yeah.
let me
Yeah.
tell you, if anybody has any ideas, reach out to Peter. And if there's a way we can make it happen before May 12th, I would appreciate it tremendously. Maybe just sitting here ping ponging tonight is too, do you know what I mean? Maybe it's too
Right.
fast. Maybe
I have an
there's a day that
idea.
could work.
Cool. Do you think we could do next Wednesday, the 20th?
Repeat it.
What is that? What day was that? I'm sorry.
Next Wednesday, the 20th. It's a Wednesday,
That's so close.
right before Graziano.
I'm in between this is my spring break for my kids, so I won't
Yeah.
really be available. It's gonna be difficult for me, honestly, to
Same
review and
here.
then
My kids on spring
I know, I'm
Yeah.
gonna
Guess
be in
what?
Costa Rica, but I have Wi-Fi, so I figured, let me. throw that
enjoy
out there.
Costa
Going with me.
Rica,
We're going
Asmeret.
tomorrow.
Enjoy Costa Rica,
Thank you.
Asmeret.
I think
Not
we're just gonna
tomorrow,
be
8
meeting
a.m.
May- Guys, I think we're just gonna be meeting May
Yep.
12th.
May 12.
It
Okay.
is what it is.
Didn't vote tonight, we tried,
tried.
and that's gonna be it. So Mr. Smeraldo, if there's nothing else, can we adjourn the meeting?
Do we have any public comments?
Madam Chair, you have public comments still on the agenda.
Okay.
4 minutes.
We have 4 minutes for public comment. Does anybody want to say anything? And if you speak, you have to present yourself. You have to show your face on the camera.
And name and address for the record.
Yep.
I'm not seeing any hands.
No hands?
Okay, Megan, then. Peter, it's on you. We're up to the adjournment.
No, it's up to you to make a motion.
It's up to me, then I'm adjourning.
I
Make a
second.
make a motion,
Make a
second, all those in
I
favor?
vote for
I
it.
make a motion to adjourn
I am
this
in
meeting.
favor.
I
Okay.
second it.
Thank you so
Have a good
much.
night. Enjoy your
Good
spring
night,
break,
Have a great
everyone.
spring
Thank
break.
Night,
you.
all.
Enjoy.
Healthy and safe.
Night.